Art Talk Rewind, a podcast series by Luxembourg Art Week. This series revisits the art talks that took place at the fair, where partners and guests explore key questions shaping contemporary artistic creation and the art market. Episode 7, Curator Machine.
Thank you for coming. Welcome to our talk. My name is Livia Klein. I'm an independent curator from Vienna, and I'm here today with Bjornus Van der Borght.
Exactly.
Right?
Hello.
Yes, he just taught me how to pronounce his name. Bjornus is the inventor and the face behind Curator Machine, what you can see over there by the entrance. And I'm very happy to be here with you today, Bjornus.
Thank you.
And I would say we start the talk with a little introduction about Curator Machine and its main idea. Maybe you can elaborate a bit on that so that we have an overview.
Yes, thank you, Livia. So where to start? That's basically the thing, because Curator Machine is basically a really evolved project, and it's really broad in its ideas. But one of the main ideas is to experiment with the position of the artist. So we start as an artwork, and we question the effect of the artwork. So an artwork needs a pedestal. An artwork needs to be presented. But when you present an artwork, you also claim a space. And basically by claiming a space, you exclude others, right? So even though an artwork needs this, for me, it was interesting to start, experimenting with the idea of claiming a space. And what would happen if you do not claim a space? What would happen if you give your personal space away and see what happens? Is it a bad thing for me? Is it beneficial for me? What are the effects of, giving other people a say on what you do, basically? And how would I do this as an artist? So as an artist, I step away from my personal practice or my personal space, and I let a collective basically decide its shape. So from that point, we started thinking, and that's basically the main motive of the project. So decentralizing or dissociating from the artwork itself. From there on, we started to build ideas and to build, a sort of social motivation that we would develop within the project.
So, and how does Curator Machine then infiltrate the market as a social experiment?
Exactly. So, as I said, we developed an idea for the machine. Since we decentralized it and we make a collective effort, we had to have a motive. We were free to choose any motive besides what I want for my personal, which I also have these ideas. We now had the freedom to choose what we want. So from that point, we started to build ideas that would reflect public well-being. Yep, right? So we start to talk about contemporary ideas. We did a first edition that we did in SMAC, Ghent, which is the museum. This was during an Andy Warhol exhibition where the multiple of a Warhol was replaced by media artists who did multiples. But that's the whole fun part as well, because media art basically is the avant-garde of today's art. But for some reason, institutes repeat the avant-garde from the past. And you don't see a lot of contemporary avant-garde, like current avant-garde, media art, digital art, and all, new ideas, basically. So of course, there's a percentage, but in the main cycle of things, the repetition of, the avant-garde of the past is repeated constantly. It had a very beautiful name in painting, coined by Walter Robinson, who called it zombie formalism. the repetition of shapes, the repetition of ideas, without really coming up with a new idea. And that's basically what we want to do. We want to come up with a new idea and listen to what society needs, in a sense, or what is a problem in society.
So basically, I mean, I don't know if all of you saw it already, the Curator Machine at the entrance. It's shaped like a vending machine.
Exactly.
Right? And you press a number and then something comes out.
Exactly.
And you don't know what.
Exactly.
So it's like this effect of like this Kinder surprise.
Exactly.
And I would be interested in what this what the Kinder surprise approach says about consumer culture also.
So just to introduce it real quick, my practice as a curator and my practice as an artist, they kind of merge. And I want to reflect on that just for a small second. This is for the reason that, as I said, Walter Robinson coined the term zombie formalism. And painters, in this case, it's painting, but it actually applies to all of the media, which is in art practice at the moment. Appropriating ideas from existing artists. So the painting, in that sense of zombie formalism, becomes maybe a Christopher Wool cross with Gerhard Richter, crossed with Basquiat, let's say. And you have like a new formalism, but it relates to existing artists more than to a contemporary idea. Even though we like all of this, and I'm an absolute fan and sucker for art, I fell in love with numerous artworks in the fair. Because we decentralize the idea and actually the whole process of the artwork, we suddenly had room to experiment with new ideas. And I think this refers still to what you were saying, because I like to drift off. But the idea, like, we want to, so it's all originated out of my practice, which was countering consumerism. That's what it basically is, you know, because consumerism shows the same ideas as zombie formalism. It's basically, you know, Coca-Cola was popular 50 years ago. Let's keep on pushing it instead of creating a new drink, which nowadays it's very hip to create new drinks, and I applaud that. It's super cool. Within this context, it's basically what were we talking?
It was about
so sorry
about consumer culture, but actually, when you were talking now, when we talk about consumer culture, I think term of capitalism is also very close.
Yeah.
So how do you stand on that regarding for Curator Machine?
Exactly. So the exhibitions that I did before, they were really reflecting on art becoming a product. So art becoming a product, art becoming an investment, situation where you would buy big art and then flip it on the market. And it was more like a brand. So artwork was more like a product. So what we wanted to do was create a product that becomes an artwork again. So that was kind of like the joke that we did. And it developed into kind of like integer, you know, ideas and really a lot of possibilities, which would enable the consumer again, or really focus on the consumer, or this dynamic. But I used to do like exhibitions, and we did one in Kunsthal Gent about consumerism, where I installed these shelves, these store shelves, racks, where you put like products on. But we deconstructed it. So we put it in weird shapes and put there like totally avant-garde artworks as if they are products on top of it, to really address, the dichotomy of progression and conservative, more like the non-progressive characteristics of, a corporate or something like that, which is the goal is basically to, have money income instead of really progress and put the consumer central,
I mean, I think it's also quite interesting that we are having this conversation at an art fair, or in the context of an art fair.
I want to really say that as I said, I totally love art. So there's nothing wrong with art. There's nothing wrong with, having a platform that sells art. art needs to be seen, art needs to be public and everything. But there is way more to talk about. There is way more than just doing this, right? So it's not a critique as to diminish it. It's really coming up with, using the progressive characteristics of art to really explore new ideas. That's what it's about. Really explore new ideas, because art really has the potential to, go limitless into crazy ideas, you see, which a lot of artists do. But I think it's very important to, as an avant-garde or as avant-garde thinking, not to repeat the avant-garde from the past, but really, progress into, I don't know, something.
I mean, when we talk about the avant-garde or also exploring new ideas, I would be interested in how Curator Machine brings digital art into physical space. We were also talking about this already in our interview, which you can, by the way, read at the Art Fair website. But maybe you can also elaborate a bit on that.
Exactly. So as I was talking about avant-garde and issues in investing in art, there is a huge movement, which you all probably know. I'm sure you all know, of course, which is digital art, post-internet art, media art, which is also a heritage of almost 60 years, but developed after the internet in a huge tempo. So once the sort of gallery platform got, the internet, a lot of artists migrated from the commercial, because there's a lot of integrity in galleries too, but the commercial sort of platform into a totally free space, which is the internet. And we had a lot of crazy, cool developments on the internet and on digital art. But we still see today, and now I turn back to your question, we still see today that the representation of digital art is actually very low. There's not so much digital art represented, just for the reason because digital art is not sellable. Why not? You see it on your mobile devices for free, or you experience it as a website, and why sell it? You already have it in your pocket, right? So that's a bit of a misunderstanding, and we want to, kind of promote the diversity of digital art, media art, and post-internet art. And show these artists as the true avant-garde that they are. You see? Nothing against what happened in the past of avant-garde, pop art, you name it. It's all fantastic. And we relate to that for sure also. We love to relate to that. But there is a whole new world being created at this moment, which is being kept by so-called, platforms, because it's not sellable. That's not cool, You should be enriched by all this cool art, but you don't see it. I have to say, here during Luxembourg Art Weekend, there is a lot of post-internet artists who are represented, and there is digital art. But in the main scale, I think that's our motivation to really emphasize the potential of digital art, because the digital art realm is not just surveillance and turning social media into a shopping mall, But it's also about innovation, about artists who really want to shape the internet, who want to empower creativity and, have a moralistic agenda to the consumer or user and stuff like that. So for this reason, we did a very sincere curatorial selection of a diverse group of 6 artists who are working in this realm, and really talk about the motif, which was to react on the corporatization of the internet and the effect of handheld devices on our daily lives, and generate an artwork that that goes about this. They had absolute freedom to.
And this you can now approach in the vending machine at the entrance.
So you have the corporate structure, which is almost satire, of course, because it's an artwork, but it's a satirical sort of simulation of, a corporate system, like a dictatorial system, which we simulated. So basically, when the artwork would succeed, you would ignore the artwork and not buy. And then the artwork succeeds. But when you do buy, you get a lot, not in Dubai, but you get a lot in return.
So what would you say
total.
are the main goals of Curator Machine?
Yeah, well, there are many main goals in Curator Machine, but I think as discussed.
You would have to pick 3.
Okay, I'll try. Wait. So 3 main goals. Well, one thing which I think is really important, and I think I didn't say yet, is we want to turn the consumer into an art collector, right? Like, if we are already consuming art, right? Why not turn the consumer into an art collector, right? It's like a weird thing. It's like a weird shift. So what I mean with this is the integrity of art, like before you can make a very good artwork, you need to have like years of reflection, find your inner core voice, do something with that. And there's many examples within the fair itself, which is amazing stuff. But before you get there, it's really a hell of a work, right? So I think this integrity could be the solution for a corporate singularity, right? Like if the corporate is greedy and just wants, monetary winnings, right? It stops there, between brackets, of course. Art goes way further, or should go way further. I'm also pushing art, of course, but art has the potential to really change that structure, in my opinion, really a lot. So I don't know if there is a question, please tell me, but.
And how does Curator Machine then foster inclusivity and collaboration also among the artists?
Right. So we're definitely developing that as we speak as well. But the curatorial, I need to tell you this, I think, like because as an artist, for me, it was important to step away from the artwork and really, I get inspired by so many artists, right? I can just take over or get inspired by certain, gestures or certain ideas and stuff. And it dawned to me, like, why not ask the artist to, join me or whatever, And it just, the first steps to that basically was an artwork or an exhibition where I would show art, but not my own art, other people's art. So I could be seen as appropriating their ideas as my artwork, right? Or I would just say, you get the voice because I'm inspired by you. You do it because you're the core idea. Why not you do it? So that's so important to. And this is only the only time you can really do this is in art. So it's the most artistic thing you can do, because if you do it as a corporate, the corporate is not yours anymore and the revenue is gone, or, so it's like a strange kind of thing. Yeah.
When you refer to we in Curator Machine, who is we? Who also stands behind Curator Machine?
Well, the idea came about the decentralization that I do and all these things, and the manifestation of the artwork was really an effort between the collaboration between me and Jerry Galle, which was the guy behind connecting everything basically, and acknowledging the interest of the idea and then developing it alongside. Jerry is also a very renowned media artist, and we're also close affiliated with Jody.org. Jody.org did the solo exhibition in MoMA, and is basically one of the, the pioneers of net art. So it's one of the fantastic art things in digital art, basically. But they've all been connected to the machine in one way or another through Jerry, because he's so, he's got a really broad network, and so that's a bit we. But in the other sense, we is also kind of like the collective, I'm always thinking about the collective, or decentralizing myself. So talking about me doesn't feel right in this case or so. Yeah.
In our interview, you also referred to art as a civic muscle.
Exactly.
What does this mean to you?
So as an introduction to this, as we saw art develop the last 40 years, let's say 30 years, we saw net art come out of the, first electronic arts and stuff like that. Net art, early 90s, till 95, 96. Growing into post-internet art from 2005, 2009, with prominent artists like Cory Arcangel and a whole bunch, Amalia Ullmann, all those artists. And this turned into a scene that really addressed, actually was kind of like an infiltration, or, a revolution almost, that changed art. If you look at post-internet art. So the last 10 years, post-internet art really changed the aesthetics of art, really changed the way that art was represented online as well. Really beautiful, clean art that related to the future, more to the past. Really cool avant-garde movement. But as I came across, we're now thinking about growing into a new era, a new movement. And Olafur Eliasson, he coined the term art as a civic muscle. And I think this is the most accurate way of the new direction of art. I think actually you called it the new civic art or something like that. I think that's even more. I think that's even more accurate, because there is no term coined yet for this new movement that is coming, where civic urgency and social kind of issues, collectivity, collaboration, all these things are covered.
But would you also say that art has to be political, has to be socially active? I think this is a question which also a lot of curators get asked a lot, or
For sure.
I get it asked a lot.
For sure.
And I would be interested what your take is on that, because your project obviously also has a very political approach.
Yeah, it does and it doesn't. Like, for me, it's an urgency about what we're doing as a collective, what we're doing as a society. Why are we so competitive? Why? What's the point of being competitive? What if we're not competitive? What happens to you when you're not competitive? It's a really hard thing, because you have to cope with all the ideas. And in sense, art is the perfect catalyst to make you cope with other people's ideas, to open up to other people's vision, to open up to other people's ideas in an extreme. Because, it's a very difficult dichotomy, of course. But what was the question?
If you would say that art has to be political.
Yeah, art does not have to be political at all. And that's one of the things that I want to emphasize as well. A very strong aesthetic, almost like sterile artwork can work just as well. An artwork that is so devoid of any context, because if you look at abstract art always has like a sort of motivation, or a sort of like manifestation in most cases. But let's say Mariko Mori, or some post-internet art who's devoid of meaning, is still very important, because the reflection that you have with something that doesn't want to push an idea is super important. It is as important as a message. It is a message on itself. That's funny. I just want to say this real quick, because if you think about I think Islam Mathematica, and the way that our mosques are built, which is like a mathematical thing, because they cannot show any deities and any forms of God, so everything is abstract. I think that's very cool to think about, because it's very open. Of course, in the context, it's still religious, but the effect of being very open, the effect of not having, in that length, not having kind of like context or something can be as valuable, of course, because you have the freedom to think whatever you want, and to create that space is of real importance. But in this case, yeah, even in my practice, we always had the two. If it was integer for the person to, say that art sucks, let's say, I'm just saying something stupid, of course, but art sucks. But it was important to say for the artist, the artwork succeeds. You see, but if you want to, say art sucks because you are, I don't know, you don't know anything else to say, you can feel that. But if you're integer to not saying anything, it's as important as to say art sucks. Sometimes you don't need the words. So what is important in art, I think, is integrity, and it can be anything.
Before you ask the question, what would happen if we weren't that competitive?
Yeah.
What do you think would happen?
Well,
especially in art.
Okay.
Maybe only in art.
Yeah. So I'm not the first one to pose this question, of course. And that's funny because if you think about the artist-curator relationship, right? Like, famous curators were artists. One of my heroes, Jan Hoed, who did Smack Museum, he was an artist, basically. And he said to himself, like, I'm not as talented, so I quit art. But he basically was an artist, but he curated, of course. So, yeah, I think I'm lost. What was?
What do you think would happen if we weren't that competitive in the art scene?
Yeah, so those things happen, but what would happen? I think there is a lot of work to do, and in context, it's important to see like a gallery is competitive in a sense. And yeah, it's sometimes there is positive competitiveness, and natural competitiveness and those types of things which are good. We don't need to be opinionless. It's good to be opinionated. It's good to be yourself. You are competitive by being yourself, and that's okay. But there are, I think, positive things to think about in thinking in a collective and thinking, to kind of like not be as competitive, or to be competitive in moments where you need to be competitive. I don't need to tell you this, but you can see these structures really affect nowadays also, the political atmosphere where what we're in, war and all those things. They're very competitive. A lot of the times they're corporately driven, and they're
also profit driven,
and it's really bound to go wrong until it goes right again. And it's a crazy system because we can just make it right now. It's so easy. It's not, but we can just skip the problem and make it right, It's crazy that we first need to have a problem before we can make it right or something. It's a crazy thing because we'll make it right eventually, but at what cost? And you need to really take in account why and where and by who. And you can really analyze and really trace back where it originates. It's crazy stuff.
And maybe back to Curator Machine, it has a non-commercial approach. And how do you say, is this affecting the connection between art and its audience?
Yeah, so we are non-commercial until we are, right? So we have nothing against being commercial in a sense. So we're just an art project that is here to sustain the artist. And once we reach that goal, we are finished. So if the artwork did its job, the artists were paid, and we're done. So that's it. But it has the potential to say, okay, we want to, revenue, or we want to grow bigger and put the machine everywhere. It's possible. Something like that is possible. We don't refrain from that because the idea is more important. And of course, if you can revenue or become sustainable or, become, just independent, that's a good thing. We can grow into crazy projects.
But is it now funded or something by
is
the
funded, yeah.
government, or
Yeah.
how do you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we are funded by the city where I'm active, the city of Ghent. And we develop, it's funded basically by the city.
Okay. One other thing, in our interview, we also talked about the idea from Jonathan Mese, everything must become art.
Yeah.
It is, as I remember, a very important phrase for you.
It is.
Why is that so, and what does it do with you?
Yeah, Jonathan Mese is just an iconic artist. And I think he communicated the idea of breaking norms and, making room for the future. I see him as an artist who does that constantly and really succeeds in that. He really lives on that, grens, how do you say, this border.
A border.
The line, exactly, with society and really pushing ideas and stuff like that. And such artists are really important to us. And there are many others who are important too, like Josef Albers also. I'm not sure if he's Josef. But Albers, who also said that the artwork is not a product. The artwork is about the vision that is communicated. And those artists, even Basquiat, with his sort of multimedia approach of having different, experiences or thoughts in the day portrayed in one painting, which you have almost like a diary of a couple of days of thoughts. It's really like a predecessor of what we live in. You could say also that we live in kind of like a rhizomic time of Deleuze and Guattari, who said it's not linear thinking anymore. It's thinking inside a web. It goes from A to C to K to Z, And this is, one of the predecessors, maybe Basquiat, and then...
Because everything is connected in a way.
Everything is connected in a way. And the non-linear kind of connections, they lead to new things, like the wasp and the orchid. So it's funny because you have an orchid in the Amazon, right? There's an orchid growing, which emulates a wasp, which is crazy because wasps, they do not pollinate. Wasps don't pollinate. So, but at one moment, this plant was like, I'm going to emulate a wasp, which is a total hit in the dark because the wasp doesn't do what the plant says it needs to do or wants to do, right? But it works and it becomes non-linear. This is the wasp and the orchid, famous symbolic for rhizomic thinking from Deleuze and Guattari. And so, the artist is really equipped to do stuff like that, to really evoke ideas that shouldn't be, related to each other almost, and come to something new potentially, right? And I think something like that is really needed in this, contemporary or current social environment or, problem situation we could be in. Come up with something new. And everybody is, of course, spirited by this. Huh? Everybody wants this. Huh? I know. I'm just saying what is need to be said, but it's, But it's important to maybe, inspire people to think outside that and to think of the future or something. Yeah.
When we are talking about the future, what are the future projects for Curator Machine? Is there anything upcoming?
Yeah, definitely. We're doing new projects as we speak. I'm now preparing the effects of social media on society. And we're doing a new Curator Machine, which will launch in July this year. And we're really trying to inform the people of the effects of social media. Really talk about that, what that is, and the corporate.
With the Curator Machine, or with the artists that you're exhibiting within the Curator Machine.
Exactly. So every edition of the Curator Machine gets a motive. So we develop the motive, which could be the title of the artwork, and then we give this motive to a group of artists that can develop however they can interpret the motive however they want. So in the third case, now opening in July, we will also form this motive and give selected artists the freedom to do something. But we're contemplating to emulate the dopamine hit that you can have. I love social media. I'm scrolling all the time. But, I have like, a dopamine hit with it. I feel relaxed and it's fun. You should
feel
do it.
relaxed when you scroll through social media?
I mean, I have a very stressful life, so no, that's not true. But it's definitely relaxing scrolling through other people's lives.
But isn't it also super stressful in a way?
Explain.
I mean, so next to being a curator, I basically earn all of my money with social media.
Cool.
Not as an influencer, but I'm managing the Instagram accounts of galleries and art spaces, and I'm also I'm telling artists and how to do their Instagram better and whatnot. And for me, I mean, I can kind of deal with it. Also, I mean, I'm Generation Z, I'm born 96. So I kind of grew up with Instagram, or I didn't grow up with Instagram, but when I was like a teenager, I don't know, 15 or so, it came up, So for me, it's a really natural thing, I would say in a way. But maybe also because I'm handling so many different accounts at the same time, and I have my own account to take care of. And also, I mean, for me, when I started out being a curator, I started with Instagram and people got to know me through Instagram. And I think sometimes it's also very overwhelming scrolling. And what I find perverse in a way is that when I scroll through stories, for example, that I have pictures of a nice vacation or of like nice food or whatnot, like something nice. And then next picture is a war scene, free Gaza.
Yeah.
And I mean, of course, free Gaza.
Of course.
But I think sometimes it's so shocking and overwhelming, and this really like this multitude of images all the time, which are in no context at all.
Yeah.
And then I think it's also weird when I post something so political and then the next post is me sitting with a Prosecco at the bar. Yeah. I mean, that's insane.
Crazy, yeah?
Sorry.
But social media wants you to do this because every emotional interaction you have with the platform engages the user, and as much engagement, and also like you can almost not, analyze this because it's information after information. You're engaged with the platform so much that the moment of promoting a product is so crazy because you're open cortex, you are very engaged with the platform, and suddenly you have to buy, I don't know, whatever, suddenly you have to buy a new car, And you're like, oh, fuck, it's a problem there, shit. And, oh, she's having fun. Wow, okay. A new car, It's like you cannot have a more perfect situation to sell your stuff. And that's what social media has become. The perfect shopping mall, And there's a lot of things to say about social media, and a lot of artists who are working with it, alongside Geert Lovink and a couple of others, Joost Rekveld, who are really claiming to make the internet too. The internet too, just for the people. No more corporates, just people. Just communicate people. Many people are searching, many platforms are searching for the integrity back to, like true human interaction or stuff like that. But it's still a crazy thing.
I mean, I think Instagram I mean, I'm not on TikTok. I kind of don't understand TikTok, but I think especially Instagram is also very interesting for the art scene, for example.
For sure.
Because also I find a lot of artists, or not a lot of artists, some of the artists that I'm exhibiting, I actually found them on Instagram.
For sure.
And I look at their profile and it's like an online portfolio in a way, you know?
100%.
So I think it's not only this negative thing of
That's
being
right.
like this huge shopping mall or this very capitalist, and I mean everything is capitalistic. We live in a capitalistic world, you know.
Sure.
But I think Instagram also has this huge opportunity in a way, also because it's for free, you know.
Is it for free? That's the first question. It's not for free because Instagram sells your data. Instagram. The free version of Instagram projects whatever they want every 2 scrolls on you. I don't know if that's free. Anyway, you said something about a corporate agenda, but you said something else. The opportunity that you have on social media. Of course, that's why social media succeeds, because it starts from your own voice. That's why it's so, social media, basically, that's why the internet was so innovating and, how do you say, was a revolution. Because before that, and I still remember that too, you had to do with media channels dictating. There were still crazy media channels, like crazy magazines, crazy television shows that would be totally free and fun. But it was a one-way communication, and the internet was enabling a two-way communication. And from there on, because it enabled, the user to, upload, right? It's created from the internet, the corporatization of the internet, which is social media. And real people misunderstand what the internet is. The internet is not Instagram. It's not Facebook, it's not Google even, The internet is just like a network of peer-to-peer crazy connections, Of course, you need to manage it in a sense, but what we call the internet is just a corporate, It's just Instagram, it's Meta. And for me, it's fun. It's really fun, but they kind of use the revolutionary aspects of the internet for their personal gain. That's what it is. So you are referring to social media as being, but it's cool because you can. I agree. But the idea was from the internet and it's not social media. That's why.
So social media kind of took the idea of the internet and kind of developed it.
Yeah, they
further.
developed it to make it a revenue, which is nothing. It's okay, but it goes into a crazy, roller coaster of now being films of like a couple of seconds, and you have advertisement for the platform itself, or you have a different advertisement if you don't pay €6 or €16 a month. Instagram.
The Curator Machine about social media and its effects will be launched in July 2025.
Exactly.
And where will it be seen?
So it's going to be in a public space, basically an art space in Ghent, which recently opened. Really cool spot, which we're working on at the moment. So it's a bit of a social kind of platform with different ideas. It's definitely between the gallery and sort of like cultural center feelings. And they approached me to do something because they liked the aesthetic of the machine, but they were really kind of like surprised by the seriousness that I have with the machine. Because it's, for me, the machine is also very fun. You can go to it, you can buy something, and it's fun, But we really infuse it with a lot of deep and strong kind of like critique and stuff. Yeah,
there's also like a theory behind it.
Yeah, and that's part of the sort of thing that we want to evoke.
Sounds nice. I'm looking forward.
Thank you.
Well, I think the both of us talked a lot already. Are there maybe questions from the audience?
Yeah, please, anything. Doesn't matter if there's whatever. Just tell me. I'm not the worst question that you can come up with. You can ask me. Yes, please.
Wait, the lady in the green pullover was first, I think. Okay.
Oh, she's the.
Yeah, thank you for the presentation. I would like to know a little bit more about the selection. So
Sure.
it's called Curator Machine. So
Exactly.
I suppose that there are curators who are selecting the artist for the machine.
Exactly.
How are you doing that? Is it your choice? Do you have a committee, or you invite curators for different
Well,
settings?
the final part of your question is very interesting. And I think in the sense of decentralization, there's definitely an opportunity to have other people really take over the whole machine, like decentralize the whole thing. So there is, and to step a little bit back, there is a possibility that somebody else will curate it. But in this sense, as an artist, as appropriation became a curatorial thing. So you understand? Like so I'm just selecting what I like and become, in my artistic practice, become a curator. So I don't know, but what is important?
So if I understand it well, is at the beginning it's more an artist-curator project, but it could be developed also as a curator to invite curators for the machine.
It definitely fuses the two very closely. My art practice is basically curatorial. Of course, I develop everything. I do the graphical design. I write the texts. I do the social media. I direct everything. I produce it and all these things. So basically, it's just one step away of being my artwork. So just, yeah. So, but in many senses, depending on the curator, I was just talking to the guy who has the beautiful, what's his name? Frank Stella at the booth. It was an amazing piece. And if you look at the development of Frank Stella's final work, I should say, the development of the two exhibitions, one was in New York, if I'm not mistaken, one in Paris, in a couple of years difference, or maybe simultaneously, I forgot. But the development was like 10 years for all these pieces. There grew out wall pieces and different things, but this exhibition took 10 years, which the curators followed up really, closely in production with him, you know? So in that case, it looks a lot like something like that in a sense, you know, where you have really the serious approach of what does the artist need, understanding what the needs are, looking to develop it, understanding what is possible in development, and as closely as possible, develop what the artist need is. So you become a producer almost, and you become the creative the developer or something like that. Yeah.
Other questions?
Hi, hello.
Hello.
I wasn't here from the beginning, but
Yes.
I have some thoughts while you were talking about the whole social media thing, because you excluded a lot TikTok, which was really weird for me, because I feel like it's a platform that's even more open and free than Instagram. But since I am a social media and art lover, artists tend to kind of exclude TikTok a lot. And it just occurs to me, like, why does that happen? Why do we feel like it's a more trash platform, if you may? Like,
No.
why
Well,
is there this mentality
So
over it?
first of all, we must quickly analyze what the internet is. And the internet is visual representation. So visual representation is perfect for the artist. You take a picture and it speaks for itself. A picture of the artwork is as important as the artwork itself. So static imagery is perfect in the art world. But once that you venture out of static imagery and you go into video, it becomes a whole different thing. So it opened up situations like atelier visits and
artists doing their artwork
Exactly.
in a video,
Yeah.
then like showing the process of
Yeah.
how the artwork comes together or something.
Exactly. But if you are working as an artist and the artwork takes 10 years, like Frank Stella, that's an exaggeration, of course, but let's say it takes like a week or two, which is a normal, period time frame for an artwork to take place. It's really hard to really capture this in 7 seconds or 15 seconds, So it becomes a whole development in itself. You need to cut and paste and maybe make an app or something, which is just not so hands-on to do. You see?
Sure, I
Right.
hear that. But
Yeah.
maybe it's not about representing the process. Maybe it will be about the aesthetic or the inspo. Maybe it will be something more general, something that has a correlation with the artwork, but it's not the artwork itself. This is what I like about TikTok, that you see even brands like having a TikTok profile, but they don't exactly show you the products, but the feeling of the products or something that has to do with something more human in a sense. This is why I also like TikTok.
I get your point. I think the reason why the both of us didn't talk about TikTok is you are also not on TikTok. Yeah, we are both not on
Maybe
TikTok.
after this you will.
I tried
You
it.
can give me your ad.
I tried it a few times, but I don't know. Maybe it's also a generational thing. Maybe I'm too old.
No, girl, you're not. My mom is on TikTok, but she
Okay,
sees things that are
What's your
relevant
mom's
to
ad?
her.
But I think in general, social media and art, if it's not TikTok or Instagram, there is, for me, Instagram or also TikTok, it's very fast. Everything is very paced in a way. And for me, I feel like art has this depth. And on social media, things are not really deep, even if we are pretending to be super deep. We are not, we are pretty and blah, but and I think presenting art on social media can maybe relate to it being not be presented in the depth that it actually has. And this is why maybe artists, I don't know, this is really just a theory. Maybe this is why artists still prefer doing something like Instagram, because there you can post a picture and at least put the parts of the exhibition text underneath, Or me as a curator, I use my Instagram as my online my online portfolio, So when people
You're going on Instagram now.
I'm going on Instagram live now. So that when people find me on social media, that they know, this is Livia Klein and she's doing this and that exhibition and apparently this is her focus. And I feel like if I would do the same thing on TikTok, that I wouldn't have the possibility to really do it in the depth that I think my work kind of has or that I'm trying to give it to it,
Yeah, I
don't
get
know
it.
if this makes sense, but for me, this is could be an explanation why Instagram is still more active for artists and also curators than TikTok is.
I get it. But I think that you should really reconsider, because
Actually,
can do a lot
I
of
was
things.
researching when I was working in Brussels for 3 months at Wheels, and there I stumbled upon a topic which is in the TikTok aesthetic. It's called corecore. So I actually started going on TikTok because of this corecore aesthetic, and I was researching on that. So yes, maybe this will be a topic for the future to explore.
exactly.
But I think now we have to say goodbye because we are talking for an hour already.
Yeah, is this an hour?
It was an hour. It was exactly an hour.
Got a good host.
This was intended to be half an hour, so sorry for that. And thank you very much for listening and for participating. And yeah, I guess see you at the fair.
Thank you, everybody, for being here. Thank you.
The Luxembourg Art Week team thanks the speakers and partners for their commitment to the Art Talk program of the 10th edition. The next edition of the fair will take place from November 21st to November 23rd, 2025. Join us for a new series of captivating conferences and conversation about art live at the Glacis and available for replay after the fair.